Sometimes when you're working in Photoshop, you may need to draw something that's got a perfect circle. So whether it's like a ball shape, or it could be the moon, or it could be the sun, or it could be the iris of the eye if you're drawing the eye, or anything where you need a perfect circle, which is difficult to achieve sometimes using the paintbrush tool trying to draw, because it's quite difficult to draw circles accurately, especially if you need a perfect circle. So I would usually recommend using the shape tool to help you do this. So if we go over to our toolbar on the left hand side here, and if we scroll down to the shape tool, so the shape tool is usually here. You might have a circle that I've got here, you could have a rectangle. If I click and hold, it gives me a range of options of different shapes, or I could draw a line that I can create. So I want the ellipse tool because I'm going to create a circle, so I'm going to click on that. So now what I've got is I've got this little plus, and that's going to be where I start drawing my circle. I've got my settings at the top. I can either change them now, or I can change them once I've drawn my circle. I'm going to change them once I've drawn my circle, but you can do it before or after. So I'm going to click and drag, and it's going to create my circle. Now, it's an ellipse tool, which means it creates ellipse as well as circles. So if, as you can see, I've got an elongated ellipses, and if I want a perfect circle, if I hold down Shift, then it will keep my proportions to a perfect circle as I enlarge it or reduce the size. Okay, so just holding Shift on the keyboard, and don't let go of Shift until after you've let go of your mouse. So now I've got my circle. So at the moment, it might not be the circle you want. You might not want it to be blue with this great big fat black border around the outside. So that's what we want to play around with at the top first. So let's start with the fill. So if I go to the fill at the top, at the moment it's blue. So what I can do is I can either choose to have no fill by clicking on the white with the red line through it. That means it's got no fill. That's good if you've got another image that you want to appear behind it. So if you've got another image behind this circle, you'll be able to see through it now because it's got no fill. You could give it a gradient like that, so and then you could choose your colors. You can choose some of these preset gradients, or you can create your own down the bottom, or there's loads of others in these folders here as well. So so you can play around with that if you want a gradient. You can add a pattern in, which is this one here, so you can choose some of these patterns, or you can choose a solid color. There are some preset colors here. There's also folders full of colors, but I find them a bit laborious to go through. So if you click on this little square here at the top, that gives you the color picker. I personally prefer this to this, but this is good if these are recently used colors. So if you are, if you want your circle to be a color similar to one you've just recently used, that's what that's useful for. So you could pick any sort of colour. It will show up as soon as I press OK. I'm going to go for a light greyish perhaps, or something light anyway. So something like that. It doesn't really matter too much for this demo. And then when I press OK, that's the colour that I've got. Okay, so that's the fill. My stroke, same thing. So I can have no stroke. If you don't want a thick outline, you can choose from these colours. You can choose a gradient. Similar thing to what I just showed you. If I click on one of these, or you can have a pattern, okay, the same as what I just showed you. Probably for the most part wouldn't want that, but just in case you do. Obviously probably you want no stroke if you just want to, if you need sort of a circle shape, but I'm going to just show you with a stroke what you can do in terms of changing the thickness of your stroke. So let's just go with that for now. So that's my colour. I can change it from a normal line to a dot, sort of a dotted line or dots, and just there. And then if I go here to this one, I can change the thickness. I don't want dots. I mean, you might do, but let's put it back to normal. And then I can change the thickness of my stroke if you want to. So if you do want it to have like an outline, you can do that there with that quite easily. So that's basically how you create your circle. Now we've got a circle that you can move around. If I wanted to change the size, I can press Ctrl T for transform to change the size of it, and I can make it as big or as small as I like, and that's a circle. Now at the moment, if you look at your layers where the circle is, you've got this little symbol down the bottom of your layers, and what that means is this is a shape. It's not a drawing. So if I wanted to edit it, let's say I wanted to colour it in now, and I went to my brush tool and I tried to draw on it, it would tell me that the shape must be rasterized before proceeding, and then it would ask me if I want to rasterize the shape, and I'd press OK if I wanted to draw it. Another thing you can do is just right click on your layer. This is usually what I would do, and just go to rasterize layer. So what that means is it's no longer a shape, it's now the same as if you drew it. So as if you sat and drew it and then you colored it in, and you can edit it, you can get the bucket tool. Just to show you quickly, you can choose another color and you can color, whatever color you want it to be. You can get your brush tool, you can choose another color, and you could sit and you could you can sort of edit it, you can draw into it, you can do whatever you need to do. So you've got your circle shape there. So that's probably the easiest way of creating a circle if you needed that as part of your design. Equally, I can get the eraser tool, and let's make that a little bit bigger so we can see what we're doing. And I can rub parts out of it as well. So I'm editing it just as I would as if I'd drawn it and coloured it in. Okay.